Hello, and welcome to another episode of Philosophical Bones. I'm Nick,
I'm Keith.
and this is the first one in like 2 months.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
On anything on this channel.
Yeah, we've been slacking.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
and RIP to 90s nostalgics.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
Yeah,
And that means that Worlds Collide is not around anymore
I
either.
wish it would stay.
I know.
Ronnie,
What's
maybe
up,
one
dude?
day.
What's up, dude? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
We want to hear it. Anyway, today, question 30 is, if you had to do your life over, would you do it over the same?
See, that's a weird way to look at things. Like, would you do it the same? Because that would mean that you have a foresight into what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And like, I've had a lot of positive and negative things happen to me. Like, there's a lot of things that I would change as far as like my life decisions and stuff like that. Like,
Let's say it pretty much the same question as if we had a time machine.
well, right. Like in 2006, I got hit by a car. I would have probably not gone on that bike ride if I would have had previous knowledge to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But at the same time, how would that have changed your life?
oh, dude, have head trauma that has been a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it would have been, if I would have known not to go out on that bike ride that day, I would have stayed home.
Yeah, but
would have called in sick to work.
You can get kind of the butterfly effect, though, after that.
Well, that's true.
You can
That's
messing
true.
with stuff.
Well, not going to work that day might have lost me my job or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like specifically from that getting hit it's had ripples in my life for a long time that I'm more actually recently finding out about. So like that's one thing that I would have redone. Like I probably wouldn't have worked at Subway for 12 years.
Yeah, I've
probably
had that job.
Yeah. You know, I've been at Magpies for almost 10 and a half years.
Has it
now.
been that long?
Yeah.
Fuck.
You know, like I would have probably gone to school, probably would have like taken a lot more.
I think actually a lot of people would say the school part.
Yeah.
Because even me, I look back now and I'm like, oh, well, if I only would have known, I would have gone, because you look at school when you're 18, you're like, oh, fuck this. I don't want to get stuck in school for 4 years. And then you're like 28 and you're just like, fuck, I wish I would have just gotten stuck in school for 4 years.
Well, speaking of like time machine stuff, like there's also a lot of stuff in my life that I would have kept people from dying, but also that have been bad or good, or like maybe let's say God has a design or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that also might not have been a good thing.
So I'm just going to say right now that the question wasn't dealing with time travel, but I'm glad we're going on this first.
Well, yeah.
We'll get back to original. But
Well, the whole idea of the question is time travel.
yeah.
You know, like if you go back to square one and start over.
Yeah, but having the knowledge.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm right. No, that is time travel, pretty much. But you kind of have that. It's like, okay, you go back as a baby, and you're like, what your life was like before. It's like a Groundhog Day scenario.
So you would be born as an infant with all the knowledge of your life as of like this moment?
Or maybe you'd pick it up when you got to be like 5 or something. I don't fucking know.
It would come.
You would know it though at a certain
it would
point.
come to you like, oh, I learned to drive a car at this point. Oh, I already know how to drive a car.
Yeah.
Like I already have that in my system. I already know how to do that. But like for me, like I would have probably. So here I'm still looking at like time travel.
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably warned my dad of his stroke. I would have probably like not gone on that bike ride. Would have not let my mom go on the bike ride that she went on that got her killed. Stuff like that. But this I don't know if this is actually the question.
Well, also too, like they say, there are fixed points in time, like with like people's deaths too, that they say like, well, actually, it probably feels philosophically or is I don't know if it'd be philosophically or not, but it's like you can't change those. They're like they're inevitable.
Would you want to know the time and date of your death?
It's weird. I've been thinking about that a little bit recently, and I wouldn't.
Let me finish this question. Would you want to know? Okay, would you want to know the time and date of your death, or the time and date of a family member's death, but you weren't allowed to tell them?
That's a good mythical morning question.
Yes. It's absolutely where I got that
mine.
from. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the family member. If it was one I didn't like, because then I wouldn't give a shit.
Knowing your own.
If you really want to be really want to like be a dick, you can walk up to them like, "You're gonna die on April 26th,
7 days
of next year."
For me,
and then you just freak them out for the next year, and you just ruin their life. That's a pretty big dick move. Though.
Yeah. For me, knowing my own would be pretty hard because like I deal with stuff in my own life to where like I know that there's like a time limit for something, and I get real bad anxiety. Like for me, knowing that it's like, oh, okay, in 36 hours I'm gonna die, dude. It would be rough. It'd be rough. like I'm glad that to know that it's going to be spontaneous and
But what would you do
unpredictable.
if you had 36 hours left?
If I had
and
36 hours to live?
you knew you were gonna die in 36 hours. What would you do?
Oh, that's rough. You know,
You could go anywhere, do anything.
you know what? You know what's really bad, but what came to my head is
What?
that I'd probably kill somebody.
Anybody in particular?
No.
No? Not your boss or anything?
I can't say that's like an honest answer, but that's just like what came to my head. Like if
Wow.
I only had 36 hours and had no consequences, sorry.
All right, as long as it's not me. Oh man.
Yeah, that look on your face is priceless, man. You're like, what?
Would you travel anywhere or go
Probably,
try to see someone?
you know, go someplace I've never been. Like, I've never been anywhere in Africa. Never been anywhere in South America.
So you don't just like fly there and see it before you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. The first thing that came to mind was I'd want to like go to Spain and like stay in.
You've been to
Camino
Spain.
again. No, but I love it, man. I was talking to my sister about it last night. I mean, I fucking there's just something so tranquil about it.
Yeah.
You know, either that or actually probably like go out to the desert. You know, just find a good spot in the desert or up
Right.
on the mountain or something.
What would?
'Cause
Okay.
that's why I love the desert. It's so peaceful.
I like the desert, but I'm getting tired of it. 37 years of it. Well, not quite 37 years.
I
but
love the weather out here.
I'm noticing like every year the heat gets harder and harder for
That's
me.
just global warming for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't say it's getting any hotter. It's just my tolerance is
God,
less.
we
and
had that cold snap like the other day.
less. Yeah.
Oh god, it was like 48, and I'm sure somebody's gonna listen to this like in another part of the country. Like 48, like that's not that bad a day. It's like, and for us, it was like we were fucking freezing.
Dude, I rode 5 miles at 7:00 in the morning at like 27 degrees. That makes me a gangster.
God damn, dude.
And in shorts,
Back in my day, I used to walk 5 miles in the snow.
uphill both ways.
Yeah.
Uphill both
Quit
ways.
your bitching.
But back to the original question.
Yeah.
Anything that I would do different, I would have probably worked a little harder in school to maybe get a scholarship, something like that. It's like probably picked a different career path.
Yeah, I definitely would have.
Being a chef is nice, but where I'm at right this second is not where I want to be.
And people always say like, "Oh, it's never too late to change," but I'm like, you get to a point where like you just don't have. You got to survive.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you can get away with like kind of living at home or something, mooching off your parents still, or even just like
Well, like
I think you got more opportunity when you're younger to do more. I guess I don't know.
well, you got more leeway.
Yeah,
you got
that's
more
actually a way to
leeway.
put it. You're not like strapped down by like debt and bills and
Yeah.
and like family and everything.
Well, I look at somebody close in my life. The listeners of the podcast know Lavaria, who's Jackie. She the schoolwork that's on her blows my mind. Dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody that has to do that like 7-8 hours a night, man?
No.
It's rough.
Yeah.
And, like I can only imagine the amount of like.
I think for us
Focus
too,
that
like
takes.
I know both of us we're both pretty lazy people.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's one thing
I'm the
we,
king
we
of-
look
king
at
of-
school and
king of being lazy.
And actually, I was thinking about it. I think like today or yesterday, I was like, man, it's kind of it's nice not to worry about like reading a book or writing a paper or something. And, like, I can just relax at home.
Well, like not to like hover over it, but like she'll explain to me like what she's got to do as a topic and stuff like that, and just I don't even get it.
Oh yeah,
I just like, I have to come up with a concept for this or like, what?
yeah.
What? But if I was to have gone to school, I'd have probably done like physical therapy or because I work better with my hands.
I thought you were gonna get into that, or you were taking
Well,
a
I've been
class
doing
or
that.
something.
Yeah, I've been doing that. Yeah, like I've been the idea for me of working with my hands is much better than typing on a computer.
Oh, me too.
I
couldn't do those computer jobs, man.
I'm just better with being physical and getting a job done.
Well, that's my job. It's like
Yeah.
I'm always using my hands and physical, but it's gotten tiring, man. It really has. I'm so burnt out all the time. I work like 10 to 12-hour days every
Yeah.
day. I got my weekends off, and then it's like on Saturday and Sundays I pretty much just lay around the house.
Yeah, I hear ya.
I'm so tired.
Well, like you've worked with me before, and
Yeah.
and like you see how fast I move around that kitchen. Like there's no walking. Like I run from this point to this point, run from this point to this point, make sure that the chicken over here isn't getting too hot
Yeah.
because it's been on the table so long that somebody made an order that I was taken away from it before it got up to a temperature to where it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I would love to get out of the food industry. You know, like, I've been doing some applications and stuff like that. Like, one of them was at Bash's, which is in the deli,
Yeah.
which would be like basically what I did at Subway,
Ah.
just cutting meat.
They could actually do pretty well doing that job.
Yeah.
Or you can make a pretty good living. Like like the butchers in those shops.
Yeah.
They get paid all right.
So to stay on the vein of the question, we
Yeah.
still got to think about like what's
Well, that's just one aspect of our lives too. I was
Yeah,
about to
yeah.
say. Well, my next thing would be like you know, more like I don't know. You maybe wish like you had kids by now, or like a
Well-
family. And,
well, I'm
or like you know, you kind of look back at your like, well, for instance, like your personal life.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely had some bad relationships. Like, now I'm on a really positive path when it comes to that. I would say I'm on a really positive path. But like, I'm glad the past relationships that I had didn't work out because I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
No, I totally agree.
Like, because it would have been.
Especially when we're young, man. We're just so you know, you look back at that now and we're so dumb.
Well, you remember that girl, Chris? Oh, dude, she was a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Probably.
The scientist girl.
Oh yeah.
She was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm glad that didn't work out. Yeah, but,
You know what though? I will say, like, you meet each person you meet though, or date, is like you always get a little something out of it.
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end.
it
Like,
kind
you
of teaches you something.
Yeah, it's like it does. It teaches you something about like yourself, or
Yeah,
you know what you want, and what you don't want.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and like, I'll be open. Like, a lot of the listeners know that I've got a lot of mental issues, and I've actually started like doing therapy. And I went to a sleep study the other night.
really?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, because there's been this. I can't say it's recent, but like as I start getting sleepy, my brain activity gets fucking crazy. Like, I start saying things I don't mean. Like, just I'm not myself, and I don't even remember it. But like, they put me in this like tube, more or less. There was a bed with all these things stuck to my head, and like as I started falling asleep, the best way I can explain it is like, okay, imagine, okay, say, you know what a neural map looks like, right? You know, you just like the brain with like little lines of electricity on it.
Yeah.
Like, as I start to fall asleep, imagine if it's like throwing gas on a fire. The neurons just go, you know, so like it's like a flood, and I do stuff I don't remember, do stuff I don't think about. Like, it's like I act like I'm not even.
Did I hear? I think you like talk in your sleep a little bit sometimes.
Big
or something.
time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Oh man.
Well, and especially after like my brain decides it's bedtime,
Oh.
I don't remember half of it. I don't like it's weird, dude. It's fucking weird. I get told stuff that like, oh yeah, you said this and you acted like that. I'm like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
But you know, that's way off a topic.
Yeah, I want to bring something up just because it's always been on my mind, and I've been still like dealing with this fact. So I feel like I want to get a little bit of therapy out of this moment.
Okay.
You know, whoever really gives a shit. God, I always feel weird like.
We always do this. We always do this.
But no, like, okay, since we're talking about like reliving like our lives and an aspect of romantic relationships, like there's always just been this one girl in my life, and it's always kind of like the one that got away type situation. Like, first girl I ever kissed, friends with her for years. I was always like the one guy who was like always there for her, even when she was going through like a shitty marriage. Like, I was always like the one person who would, like, you know, we'd talk all the time. And I actually haven't talked to her in probably like a year now.
Really?
Well, I always like tried to get with her, but I always like respected her space.
Right.
And I feel like I kind of like was dumb in that aspect. I'm like, oh, if I just would have really like tried, instead of like trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to be this respectful guy, you're not ready to date, even though she was fucking doing it anyway. But she was always just jerking me around anyway.
Yeah.
I felt like, and not to mention, she always kind of just treated me like shit in that aspect. She always kind of kept me around, like, oh yeah, you're gonna say you like are really into me and all this stuff. And
I had a girl when I was like 14 that
Yeah.
was like that. It was just like head over heels,
Yeah.
like puppy love. But she always like kind of told me like, this might be a possibility, but it's never gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what happened. And then she got engaged, and she actually just had a kid like a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Like
really?
2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, she had a kid. And it was like it's like it still kind of bothers me when I see like pictures of her and her husband. I'm
Does
always
it
just
really?
like it. I've been trying more and more. It was weird. I actually had a dream about like going and just kind of like seeing like meeting her husband or something and just like congratulating them, like, hey, congratulations on having a child.
Well, that's
It was
positive.
actually kind of cathartic actually in the dream.
Yeah, that's positive though.
And it kind of was like, but I've still yet to completely let it go. But for the most part, it's like I've just let it go. But it's just always something that still bugs me, and
Yeah.
that's probably. I mean I mean, it is kind of bad. I'm saying all this stuff, but at the same time, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd go back and try to make that happen. But at the same time, she treated me like shit
Yeah, I can't say that.
through most of my life, and if I just and it's always like, oh well, maybe if I would have done this differently, it would have happened.
Yeah.
But then it's one of those things too where like, you're pretty much supposed to live your life the way it was supposed to come out.
Mhm.
It's like which is a way of, I mean, it's also a kind of a cop out because you're like, oh well, that means there's no free will.
Well, see, that's another question.
But-
that's another question.
But also, yeah, the girls I've dated, I mean, I'm kind of glad I got that experience. But
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, I only had like a couple that were actually like really anything
Yeah.
meaningful. To
Well,
me.
at the risk of repeating myself, like, I'm glad that all my past relationships didn't work out. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
Oh yeah, my life would be so different. I mean,
oh yeah,
if I would have like stuck around one of them or something, or done one thing different in one relationship.
mm. Oh,
I don't know. What do you guys say? Matt?
okay. So there's this book that I was privy to. It's called Love Languages.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, what's the author's name?
Harry Chapman.
Harry Chapman. Is that what you said?
Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman. Okay, so this one I have to recommend to anybody out here that has this kind of question.
Mm-hmm.
They explain. Okay, so from what I remember, there's 5 love languages. It's like how you express what you perceive as love. One of them is quality time, acts. Can you tell me real quick? Hey, I'm calling to the peanut gallery.
Words of affirmation.
Okay, say it again.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation,
Acts of service.
acts of service,
Receiving gifts.
receiving gifts,
Quality time.
quality time,
Physical touch.
physical touch.
Okay, so all of those, we all fall into those.
Mm-hmm.
With mine, number 1 is quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Words of affirmation is number 2 for me.
I'm really good at words of affirmation.
Yeah. So the thing is everybody kind of falls into that in a certain type of like you put those all at a certain priority.
Mm.
And like what I'm getting at is everybody kind of experiences that differently.
Yeah.
So like I'm glad now that I kind of understand that, and I have a much clearer head at what I'm looking for when I'm moving forward with something like that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know what I was getting at with that, but like we were talking about.
Well, let's talk about relationships.
Yeah, it's a really interesting book. I read through it once. It's
This is kind of on the same topic, a little bit aside, but like when I was talking to my sister last night, I hadn't seen 5 years, which I told you about.
Yeah.
But anyway, we hung out, and at one point we were talking about just like the way our family is, like, because
Mhm.
we really have a really small family. It's pretty much like me, my brother, my sister, and I've got like 2 cousins, and like I got a couple grandparents, a couple aunts,
yeah.
and that's on my dad's side, and I don't even talk to anybody on my mom's side. In fact, my sister was like, "Yeah, I don't talk to any of them either," because they're all fucking crazy. But it was interesting for us because like we were talking about each other, and we were all like we're all like very independent people because we were just kind of raised that way
Mhm.
to be just kind of our own people. And yeah, when it comes to like relationships with other people, it can get a little, at least with me, it gets a little weird at times. Like I have a hard time like sharing my space, maybe. I don't know. Like I've gotten better about it over like more and more in the last few years where I wanted to have somebody around me more. But it's just I like a lot of my own space.
Yeah.
But oh man, where am I going with this whole thing? I don't even know.
Well, like with me, like I like my own space,
Mm-hmm.
but I also there's times where I really in my life, like you know me, dude. Like I'm by myself all the time.
Well, I think for years, I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
go
but,
ahead.
Like for years, I've always been like very independent. I'm like, I don't need a fucking, I don't even know if I ever want a relationship in my life. And then like and I was always kind of on and off with it, but more lately where I finally feel like I've gotten my life where like on like a decent like career path and everything, where I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm good right now. I'm like, okay, now I want to try to have like a relationship with someone.
Now you've got
And it's-
headspace for it.
Yeah, the only problem is like my time or actually most of it's usually like women I meet the hardest part is getting time with them because they always work like completely fucking opposite
Right.
schedules from me. It's like it's for some reason it's hard for me to find a girl who doesn't work like nights and weekends. No, they always work nights and weekends.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
well, that's
fucking
just your
difficult.
demographic, man.
I don't know.
I don't know what I
I guess
mean
I just
by
don't meet people in that kind of
Yeah.
circle of work or something. But well, it also it's weird for me too because I never had a day job like where like okay I go in the morning, I'm off at night, and then I'm like I have my weekends off. Like it's the first time I think I've ever worked where I've had my weekends off.
I've never had weekends off.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like there, like I watched like I was watching like every Sunday I'd be able to watch football. I
Yeah.
fucking loved it. I was like awesome. I can watch football every Sunday. This is great. Which is honestly probably one of the reasons we haven't done a podcast in a while. Because
I've never been able to get behind football.
Yeah. I don't know. I just always kind of like football. Anyway, we've probably gotten way, way off topic.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think our main.
We haven't done a podcast in months.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of just talking about our lives right now. But we
Yeah.
do that. We always do that with these. They never stay completely on topic.
We try.
But I think the whole question is like, would we do it the same? And I think we're both kind of saying like, if we were able to change it,
I would learn from it. I would
Yeah.
learn from it and try to make educated changes.
that's actually a good way to think about it. It's like, well, it's actually think about it going forward in your life.
Yeah,
We rely on the experiences of the past to move forward.
Yeah.
Especially with like work, you make a mistake, you're like, okay, I knew what I fucked up. I'm not gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Or cooking or relationships or anything like that. That's how we, but it's almost like if we were able to do that, everybody would do that, and just be like, we'd be trying to get perfection,
Yeah.
and we'd never find it.
No, there'd
So
be
you-
like you could do it 1,000 times over.
So you'd have 10 billion people constantly repeating their lives.
well, like you could do it 1,000 times over, and you would
Mm.
change it 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's just infinite outcomes for infinite situations,
Yeah.
and
It's the multiverse, son.
yeah, that's actually what I was thinking of. But I mean, you look at Groundhog Day. Actually, that's actually a great example of living your life over again.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but trying to get it right in that one day.
Did you see that one guy did a calculation of how many years he spent?
It's like 44 or something.
Yeah, like 44 years of
Yeah.
the same day over and over and over again.
God. And they actually did you see this? They did a Super Bowl commercial with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
The Jeep. And
Yeah.
he's just like he was always looking forward to getting up in the morning. I'm like, I'm sorry, no. After about 100 days, you're like, I've got everything I can in this Jeep. Like, no, you'll never run out of stuff to do with this Jeep. No, you will. You will.
You will.
He's always taking the groundhog. Oh man.
So what episode was this?
This is episode 30. This is question 30.
Wow.
Hard to believe it. Yeah. It's always crazy when we look at
How many numbers? How many numbers?
I mean, hell, how many's in Nerdy Bones that we've done? Let's see. I'm gonna look at-
160.
Let's look at real quick. I'll bring it up for a second. 169. So this would be 170 episodes on
Yeah.
the channel. And we're really close to 6,000 downloads total.
That's
actually.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for listening for this
Yeah.
long. It's cool.
Well, again,
In fact, our last episode of Philosophical Bones was our
did pretty good.
highest one. We
did
got like
pretty
over
good.
60.
well, it's because we haven't been putting stuff out, and
Yeah,
then,
it's
like
the first thing people see.
and then like when like the fans that we actually do have, when they see that we've uploaded something, they're like, shit, click on it.
Oh,
at least that's what I'm putting in my head that they do. Like, oh, click on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we might record another one of these right now, actually.
Yeah.
Just because it's been so long. Just do it. Let's do a fun one, though.
Let's do a fun one.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I don't know. We'll figure out a fun one, I guess. I don't know what.
Again, that's what she said.
Shut up.
I know.
Shut up. So yeah, this has been question 30. If you had to do your life over, would you do it over the same? And we both say no.
No.
I don't think really. I mean, there are people out there who course say, yeah, my life's great. But there's always something I think everybody wants to change.
Yeah.
So,
All right, guys. Thanks again.
so thanks for listening. And in the end, I just want to say